tell you how many people I have talked to this morning asking that question, and they had no earthly idea who it was. At any rate, we need to officially open the meeting. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to call on Ernie Sills for our invocation.
All right, can we bow our heads, please? Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together again, even if it is only electronically, to fellowship and carry out your commandments and the Rotary motto of service above self. Help us to be your hands and your feet to do your work, to bring us closer together in love and service. You have truly blessed us all, and we are thankful. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ernie. Appreciate that. And David, can you bring the flag up, please? Thank you. Well, there we are. And if you will, join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty
and justice for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, it is time to begin the selection process to name a Rotarian of the Year. Our last year's Rotarian of the Year, John Kane, if John is with us this morning, will share with us the process of nomination and selection of the winner. Are you with us, John?
Yes, I am. Thank you, President Lou. Actually, when I got the emails about this, I actually had to go back and look at my, it seems like, given the year that we've had, it's been like 3 years since this happened. In any event, I can understand why we can't remember one recipient a few years ago. But in any event,
Right.
So now's the time to start. What we need for you to do, you're going to be getting a letter here shortly. Hopefully Alan will send it out about Rotarian of the Year. And so basically there are a couple of eligibility requirements. First of all, the member has to be in good standing. Most importantly, though, they should have made substantial, significant contributions to the club as well as the community, and that they're obviously a member of the club for at least 3 years. If the nominee is a past president, it has to be at least 2 years since they've held that office. And past Rotarians of the Year are not eligible, although if we can't identify who got it in 2018, maybe they can be elected again. In any event, once you get the email, if you would return your nominations to me, that my email address will be on that. And then the committee of past recipients will get together and we will make a decision and make that announcement in about a month's time. So we'll have several reminders about that, but if you would, when you get the email, even though we've been meeting remotely, there have been a number of that have more than stepped up to the plate and done what I would consider to be service above self in these unusual circumstances in the last year. So if you would forward those recommendations and nominations to me. Thank you very much.
John, this is Alan.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. When we send out that notice, do you want to send out the spreadsheet that goes all the way back to 1980? There are gaps back there. Maybe people like Maurice might remember some of those people.
Sure, why not? It's an opportunity to get input.
Okay.
Well, we will keep working to see if we can figure out who it was in 18, and if not, well, we will just move ahead and see what happens from there. Thank you, John. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Are there any other announcements that need to be made that I haven't been notified of? Okay, let's move on to our program then. Our program today will be an update on the City Greenway project. It'll be by Yaidee Fox, who's the assistant to the city manager, and she will be presented by fellow Rotarian Bruce Meisner. So Bruce, if you can take the floor, it is yours. I think you may be muted.
I'm sitting in the conference room of the second floor of City Hall, and it is beautiful. I don't, we didn't have it when I was here, and that might tell you something, but I'm sitting here with two young members of the City of Hickory staff, and I know I echo all my fellow council members from long ago that we are so dependent upon them for everything we do. Their input, their knowledge, their patience is outstanding. And I'm gonna turn it over to Yaidee. She's been, how long have you been in Hickory?
This will be my 18th year.
18 years. Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
And she and Dave do a good job. And anyhow, turn it over to Yaidee Fox.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Meisner, for inviting me and allowing us the opportunity to just provide a quick update on just a variety of things that are going on with the City of Hickory. I'll have Dave just pull up the presentation here so that everyone can see some of these great photos we have for you all. So we'll just go ahead and start into the next slide. So from 2000 to 2010 or 2012, and for those of you who have been around, you'll remember this. This is just a slight little backup in history, but during that time period, one of the things that we saw was the entire metro area had lost over 45,000 jobs and 25% of our young adults in the area. So the City of Hickory, through City Council as well as staff, really wanted to do something different with our vision for economic development. We wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to diversify and make it more sustainable for our economy to be able to grow business opportunities, jobs, the tax base, population, and improve the quality of life. So one of the things, we'll just go into the next slide. One of the things that we did was from 2010 to 2012 was Hickory City Council and staff started working with, and some of you might remember this because I feel quite sure there were the Rotary groups were all presented to, as well as a variety of other groups and members in the community. We had over 500 people to just be able to provide a variety of input for our plan for renovation and revitalization. And so the Inspiring Spaces Committee was formed. That led to our Inspiring Spaces Plan, which was morphed from a variety of things that came from that group, as well as all of our other master plans. And then, as you all know, in November of 2014, the $40 million bond referendum was passed. That put into vision the planning with our 42-member bond commission, who have helped to prioritize those initial projects and concepts. We'll just go to the next slide. So those projects have now either been bid and have been constructed, or are currently under construction or near completion. Others are wrapping up on the last bit of design as they're waiting on right-of-way approvals or any other kind of approval from other agencies. And these projects grew from the initial 5-mile trail, and you can kind of see that the red line is the city walk. The green line is what we call the book walk. The orange line is what we call Old Lenore Walk. And the purple line is what we call the aviation walk, which is known as the Build Grant. And then last but not least is the blue line, which is the river walk. And so it started out with just a few components, and then it went from about 5 miles of trail to 10 miles of trail. And then the bonds also include our Trivium Corporate Center business part, which is a partnership with Catawba County and the Catawba County EDC. And so one of the things that's happened over the time period has been how we've been able to reinvent Hickory. So our $40 million bond initiative has been able to help us with economic development, the quality of life investments, but also we've been able to leverage $50 million in grant funding. And so that extended the 5 miles of trail to almost 10 miles of trail which is a 10-foot multi-purpose pathway. But it's also allowed the opportunity to just get to areas that weren't originally a part of that process. And so we've been very excited about that because it's extended it from 5 to 10. Additionally, one of the things that we've noticed is, and you'll see the stat here, over 1,135 units have been approved from the housing development, which is just since 2018. So it's a huge jump. And last but not least is our industrial development that's happened with the Trivium Corporate Center and speculative building partnerships that we've started to have over the last few years, just because of the development that's been going on. And so just to name a few of the projects, this is one of the ones that's completed. This is the gateway that's right off of 321 and 70. It's a feature to just let visitors know when they're coming through 321 that they've reached Hickory. You can see that in the daytime and the night. Our downtown Union Square and the surrounding block renovation project is also completed. You can see a shot here of the before and after of just how that's dramatically changed that. One of the great things from the new design was to allow more opportunity for outdoor dining, along with some outdoor features and garden rooms, and then a multi-purpose stage. And so multi-purpose structure, I'm sorry, in addition to our stage that's already there. These enhancements were also things that we wanted along with additional lighting. You can see in this photo, and this was actually taken before our lights were put in, but to the far right of the screen is the actual city walk. It now has lights all up and down through there. But then you see how the proximity of it towards our downtown Union Square block. And so increased lighting was a huge priority that we heard from everyone when we were considering the trails. And so the city walk is in progress. There's some segments of it where a lot of people have already started utilizing that. And it's been fantastic to see. It is a 10-foot multi-purpose pathway, as I mentioned before. It kind of starts right at Little Ryan University and it runs all the way through downtown, and it does connect into all of the other locations. And then we've got just a quick shot here. This is the rendering of the 127 bridge, pedestrian bridge, but this is the progress that you're seeing right now. And then over the next 2 weekends, you may start seeing the actual archways going up. So it's very exciting stuff for sure. The City Walk project will be completed in the spring of this year. And so now we're going to move over to the water because this one's also in progress. This is the Riverwalk on land portion. You can kind of see it there. Thanks, Dave, for the cursor. It is also under construction. This project is to provide access to the waterfront while allowing its natural beauty and the terrain of the area to be able to be minimally disturbed. And so you can see in the next couple of shots how you really get that up close opportunity to the nature, but also, and then in the next shot, you'll see you can still have access to the waterfront. So it's been really exciting to see that coming through. Certainly we've been very excited about what's been happening there. The construction on this on land portion, which does connect with our over water portion, which should be completed this summer. And then the over water portion has also started construction. As you can see here, this is actually the end that's furthest away from us in that rendering. The rendering of that bridge is actually a Miguel Rosales bridge. If you've ever been to Greenville, South Carolina, the Liberty Bridge that's there was designed by Miguel Rosales. He also did this bridge, and it's been a pleasure working with him on this project, and it's really exciting. The completion for this one is the summer of 2020. Certainly it's an overwater feature, and so it'll require some additional time, and we did just get started with that one, but it's very exciting to see it happening. And so then all the rest of these projects that you'll see here on the screen, what I called the aviation walk, which was from our USDOT build grant, the Little Ryan Boulevard Streetscapes project, the book walk, and the Old Lenore walk, all of those are either finished with design and waiting on the bidding process, or waiting on right-of-way approvals, and we'll start construction this year. All of these projects will start this year. So we're very excited to see that happening. The aviation walk, as I mentioned earlier, was that purple line. It actually goes, it reaches it connects actually the downtown Union Square all the way over to the airport. And so you can see here just obviously a shot of the airport, how great that is, but it also connects to the LP Franz Stadium. And so it just allows the opportunity for people to be able to come and go all over with the multi-purpose pathway, which is of course walking, biking, running, you name it. And so then a few projects that are not bond related, but certainly things that are happening in the community. And I won't get to all of them, but these are just a few. This next one is actually Bruce Meisner Park. It is currently under construction, which is right off of Clonager Mill Road. We're very excited because this one should be finished up in late spring. You can see here, this was the last time. There's been some more progress since then, but certainly the weather is always a factor. But we're very excited about the progress on this one. And then just a few additional projects here. You may or may not have heard MDI, which is over in Caldwell County, just on the outside of the Riverwalk, is doing an expansion project, creating 111 new jobs. And it's also increasing in over 200,000 square feet. We're really excited about that. The Lake Park Shell Building is a $3 to $4 million speculative building that is right off of the Aviation Walk, which is near the 321 side. And then down on the far bottom on the left, you'll see One North Center and Center Street Crossing. One North Center is right across from us. And just across the railroad tracks is the Center Street Crossing. Center Street Crossing will have 50 apartments. It's moved way further along than this shot and is a multi-million-dollar project. And then One North Center is a $19 million project, having over 90 apartments as well. Both of these are right off of the City Walk and the Book Walk. And then the Lackey project, or the future Deidre Lackey Memorial Project, is a multi-purpose event space and restaurant with the public access. It's on the end of, you can actually see in that photo, there's the Riverwalk on the other side of the proposed conservatory, and then it comes in between the conservatory and the lake house. And so in the next shot, you'll see more of a close-up. This is a updated rendering that we've got on our website available for anyone to see of the Deidre Memorial Lackey Park. This is actually the restaurant lake house feature. And then on the next couple of shots, you can just kind of see where the restaurant will be. That's the public access portion over there on the right side. You can see there's a boat slip there, and the restrooms and just access to the waterfront. And then here you'll see on the outside dining, and then of course the lawn right outside of the lake house. And so as we have been working on this and designing, we felt that it was important to track the progress and the impact of these trails. So we created these goals to have as a metrics by 2035. And so 8,000 new jobs is a goal, increasing our population by 3,500, increasing our new housing units by 1,750, and then increasing the private investment by $500 million. And you can see just in a quick snapshot, here's where we are. Actually, just as a quick side note, those photos you're seeing over to the far right is the previous work that was done for One North Center before it started going up. And the bottom is a rendering of what it'll look like when it's finished. And behind our graphic is a shot of what it's going to look like for Center Street Crossing. So the investments now are at $371 million currently, with creating an opportunity for jobs of construction of 3,091, also creating permanent jobs in the area of 1,331, and last but not least is creating 397 housing units into the buffer area. So you can see it's definitely been very exciting for us to be able to witness all this. I did not have some photos here, but I did want to just do a side note on the Trivium Corporate Center Park. Our partnership with Catawba County has now landed us our 5th tenant most recently. So we actually have 5 businesses there: Corning, ITM, Cattler, Stonemont Speculative Building, and American Fuji Seal. It has been very popular as well, and we've been very excited about how that's been going. And then there's a variety of housing projects and other business development projects all throughout the city. And we wanted to capture the things along the trail, but certainly there is so much energy going through the city, and we're excited to see that. And with that, I will just open it up to any questions.
Well, I, for one, want to congratulate the fathers of our city to get behind this project. This is an incredible event for this community. It is such a shot in the arm with a spirit of adventure and of optimism, and who wouldn't want to come here and live? I mean, it's just an amazing, and it represents a tremendous amount of effort. I think a lot of us have been to Greenville, South Carolina, and we sort of drooled and thought, gosh, what a great job they've done down there. And I understand that the committee visited that place. It's a much larger city, of course, but I think it sort of got us off first base and got us started. So congratulations to Bruce and his fellow compatriots there for the job that's been done for Hickory. We'll
Thank you,
always
Jeff.
be grateful.
So I saw that there was a question in the chat that was on there about great progress, how much bond money is left. So all of the bond money is within the budget. And so certainly that is our job to make sure that it maintains that way. And so we've been utilizing those funds along with the grant funds to be able to make sure that we're trying to get everything completed. And right now the focus is getting it all moving and started and finished up.
What is the timing on the lake house? When will it start construction and when will it be completed?
So it is a private project. We have been working with the Lackey family. They just gave us the final renderings very recently, which is why we were able to start sharing that with everyone. I think they're looking forward to doing that very soon. Some of it is in correlation to what we're doing with the on-land portion because they are on the other end. And then some of it, of course, is just the functionality of the timing, whenever it's best to get started with that kind of project. So you should see it starting to happen soon, though. We're all very excited about it.
Thank you.
Yaidee Allen Barnhart here. I've been part of the projects and the committees and love to see all the things that the city personnel, including you and Dave and your group, are doing to advance these things. In particular, I'm excited with the fact that we've heard in the past from people like Corning, we're moving because we can attract more young people and young professionals from the Charlotte area. And I think that y'all are changing that. My question would be, what are we doing to update our surveys of young professionals from either the community, but also outside the community to see if our efforts are aligned with what their desires are?
So we have been working with our communications and marketing department, along with David Leonetti and our business development staff, to make sure that we have a variety of tools where we're trying to already reach out to people who are, one, interested in coming here, whether it's moving residentially or business related, but also just in general, as visitors come into the area, we're trying to keep track of all that as best as possible. So there's a variety of tools and resources that we've been using, as well as pushing out some various marketing plans. We've been doing that now for a couple of years, but it's been more intense as these projects have been coming online.
Yeah, we also have just we've also partnered with a retail and mobile marketing firm called Buxton, and we work with them, and they provide extremely interesting details about the folks that are visiting various places, and we use that information to kind of target our marketing efforts.
Right. So one other just question, and I'm really excited on all the trails because you've got stuff you were talking about today that I didn't even know was happening, and all the connectivity. What are we doing in terms of connecting to other efforts from outside our area? In particular, an example would be the Carolina Thread Trail. Are we branding along with them?
So we are. We actually have partnerships with a variety of different groups. One of the most recent plans that we actually presented to City Council and they approved is our bike and pedestrian trail. So we know we have the 10 miles of trail, but then how can we extend it out even further? You know, there's areas where there's already sidewalk, where there's areas where we can connect it a little bit better, where it could be some additional trails. How can we incorporate with groups like the Carolina Thread Trail? So there's a great connection opportunity there that we've been exploring and working on behind the scenes as we've been working on the bond projects as well. So certainly great question. We're really excited about those different opportunities that'll be forthcoming.
Thanks.
Sure.
Hey, this is Jack Almeida. Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, great. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the updates on the jobs and housing. So I wanted to clarify a couple points. So I think I heard you say that you're hoping to get 8,000 jobs, and I was curious, would that be 8,000, create 8,000 new jobs in Hickory, and would that be in addition to all of the open positions in Catawba and Caldwell County?
So our target for the 8,000 new jobs is it's actually for the buffer area of the 10-mile trail. You know, certainly we'd like to see it much higher than that. And the goal is for 2035, but it is specifically a goal that we have outlined for that buffer area just outside of the trails. So, and it would be for all new jobs. That's what our goal is. And so we want to be able to create those opportunities.
Okay, and a related question I had, I think I heard you say 1,700 new housing units in that right around downtown. I was just curious if there are any specific city policies or actions that you took to get some of that new housing in.
So there are two major housing projects, the two apartments. They were presented to City Council. One of them, I believe, had an economic development agreement that was done that City Council had to approve. The other one was actually something done, I think, through the Housing Finance Agency. So it was an actual funded effort that was done privately. I don't recall any actions on that one.
One of the things that we did do with our downtown area was increase the density of units that are allowed in the downtown zoning district. That was increased. Now we can build up to 50 units per acre. Previously that had been 30. And about 10, 11 years ago now, whenever we worked on updating our land development code previously, that was something that we did. Was we've spent a lot of time trying to work on ways to put additional housing into our commercial and our mixed use areas and promote that type of thing.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Well, if there are no more questions, Yaidee, I can thank you and Dave and certainly Bruce for bringing us this program. That's fascinating. And I'm like Alan, y'all are talking about doing some things that I didn't know were even in the works. And it's very exciting to see that happening for our city. And my hat's off to you guys and everyone involved in getting that done. Thank you again for that program. It was very enlightening and we really appreciate it. We're going to do something a little different next week on our meeting format. But before we get into that, I want to share with you a conversation I had with Ken Ferguson just a few minutes ago. As you know, Ken has been a loyal member of this club for many, many years, but he does not participate in the Zoom meetings, as do many of our other members. In talking with Ken, I discovered that he was not aware that he could simply open his email. Alan is sending email notices out for every meeting and click on the Zoom link and he would see a picture of whoever the presenter is at that time. He did not know that. I've had several of our members tell me they aren't computer savvy and they're not tech savvy, and that's why they're not participating. The reason I'm telling you this is to encourage you, if you come across any of our members who are not participating in these Zoom meetings, to simply tell them how simple it is to click on the link. And even if they don't have a camera on their computer, it will show up with them with their name only, but they can still see the presenters. And I think all of you would agree that with Zoom, we've had some pretty interesting meetings that would not have been possible if our presenters had to travel. So there is a blessing kind of in disguise of this whole Zoom situation. But just be sure, if you come across anyone who is telling you they don't participate because they're not tech savvy, just tell them how simple it really is. And I'm certainly going to try to do that myself.
Lou,
Someone else had
yeah, Alan Barnhart. Interesting that you would make that statement, because I have been following up on what Dave Leonetti started doing about sending the links. And maybe one thing, we need to revise that email that I send out so that people will maybe be more focused on it. But the other part is that maybe they're just not reading the emails. I'm wondering if we should get a committee together from our club to make phone calls to the people, especially those who are not attending, and try to help them through that process.
Alan, I think that would be a good idea. And I'll work on seeing if I can't gather up a few to maybe set up a phone bank and call some of the members, because we have about 30 who are not participating. And it's a shame that they're not enjoying what we have to offer on these meetings. So I think it would be wise to try to do something to get them back involved. That's a good idea, and I'll work on that. For next week, we're going to try a little bit more socialization through a Zoom feature called breakout rooms. And I'm going to ask Ingrid to share with us some of the details of how this might work. Ingrid, would you join us on this, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I will not be presenting this program next week. It will be Lindsay Kiesler, who all of you know. And she's had a lot of success with her Friday morning brew programs, the networking meetings that they hold, and that they've had to take from an in-person networking, which you would think would be impossible on Zoom. So we're going to try a similar format. So if you've attended any of those, then you might know what it's like. We're calling it Rotary Connections. And eventually what we would like to do, if this is successful and everyone really enjoys this format, then we will be calling them social moments. And we want to have one at the beginning of every meeting. So we'll be utilizing the breakout rooms. You don't have to do anything. The person who's the administrator will put you into breakout rooms, and we'll just basically kind of have conversations. And the reason we decided to do this is because we are all missing that first 15 minutes of the meeting where we just sit around the tables and talk to each other and socialize and fellowship. So we know that it's impossible to recreate that completely on Zoom. So we are going to try this as an effort to to create that 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting. And the entire program will be this sort of social time next week. And like I said, Lindsay will lead us in some discussions, just kind of some fun icebreaker questions. And so we'll see how it goes. But if everyone really enjoys it, then we'll introduce this social moment at the beginning of the meeting to hopefully encourage, some of our members who maybe haven't wanted to attend our meetings. Maybe it'll encourage them to come back knowing. So we'll see how it goes. But come ready with an open mind next week.
Thank you, Ingrid. It'll be certainly interesting to see how that works out, and I encourage everybody to join us next week, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a very positive thing for us, as long as we have to keep having these Zoom meetings. So that is going to be the meeting for next week. The invocation will be by Peter. And I would appreciate it if each of you would join me in the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it bring Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks again to our speakers for their great program we had, and thank all of you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Hi.
Great job, Artie.